What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Network's very own Fantasy Football Huddle. Today, we're going to be talking about those Week 11 waiver wire ads. I know it's impossible to believe we're in Week 11 at this current moment already, but here we are. We're in the playoff push right now. I know most of us have not been mathematically eliminated from playoffs yet, at least those that are still caring about their fantasy team enough to do the research and set their lineups correctly and do all that. So congrats to y'all for making it this far this season. Now, let's not let all that be in vain. Let's make that playoff push successfully, starting with our Week 11 waiver wire. So without further ado, let's fill up our cup, roll something up, and get right into the Week 11 waiver wire ads to make that playoff push. Now, the first one we're going to be talking about is going to be Noah Brown. Last week, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I wasn't really in on the Noah Brown train. I thought it might have been a fluke. Now, we still only have a 2-game sample size of what he's been currently doing on a positive impact as far as fantasy football is concerned, but Noah Brown is doing well. Houston's receivers should all be rostered at this current moment as we get through all these bye weeks. None of them have really been healthy, but at the same time this season, if they all are, it's hard not to at least play Noah Brown in the flex. He's put together back-to-back 150-yard plus games without Nico Collins. Tank Dell ran most of the routes and had the highest target share, but Brown accounted for 48% of the team's yards on his 8 targets, which was 21% of the target share. So you're looking at him being heavily involved and doing well with what he's getting. So I'm definitely liking Noah Brown from the Houston Texans this week. I'm also adding Joshua Dobbs from the Vikings. He continues to impress people, especially after moving to Minnesota. Right now, I don't know if he can be considered a QB1, but as far as streaming options, and I know this week, as far as bye weeks, there's not going to be a ton of quarterbacks that are going to be on bye that you really were using. But I really do like Josh Dobbs, and he may be getting Justin Jefferson back this week. And if not this week, next week, which will be an even bigger step up for him. So I like adding Josh Dobbs to my roster. I'm also liking Devin Singletary, the running back from the Houston Texans. They finally have been getting their run game going. And even with Dameon Pierce being back this week, Singletary still racked up 161 all-purpose yards this season. And that was without Dameon Pierce, but he's going to be getting Dameon Pierce back, which is going to cut into his role. However, he's been more efficient than Dameon Pierce this year on a yards per carry perspective. And he's been more shocking and more surprising when you look at who's getting the ball in Houston. So I do definitely like Devin Singletary a lot. Dameon Pierce, like I said, is going to eat into his production a little bit, but that's definitely, we've seen it already this season. Devin Singletary has still been providing. Also last week, a hot waiver wire ad was Keaton Mitchell from the Baltimore Ravens. He broke off a 39-yard touchdown and caught a 32-yard pass in just 6 snaps in the first half of the game. Presumably due to the fact that he was nursing a hamstring injury, his snaps were limited to a total of just 13. Justice Hill was rotated in. However, he still had a breakout performance while nursing that hamstring injury. With him getting healthier, you assume his role is going to get bigger. And what he's been able to do with such a small role, I'm excited to see what he's able to do with a big role. So definitely add in Keaton Mitchell on your roster as a nice stash to see what he does. I've been talking about this man for a couple of weeks. Demario Douglas from the New England Patriots has been in my conversation on the waiver wire ad for the last few weeks, and he's still under 40% rostered, so you still have a chance to get him. This week, he put together 6 catches, 84 yards on 9 targets, and he finished with double-digit fantasy points for the third time in 3 of his last 4 weeks. So you're looking at him and you're having the questions on whether he's going to be wide receiver 1 or not, and those are being put to rest. He's getting more targets than Juju Smith-Schuster, and Sunday was his career best game. I think they definitely continue to feed off of that, and you're going to be looking at that quarterback change potentially in New England, and Bailey Zappi, surprisingly, I think is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. So I actually like the quarterback change for Demario Douglas. Also looking at another pass catcher, Brandon Cooks from the Dallas Cowboys. He was dropped in a ton of leagues, and he's only accumulated 163 yards for the whole season, and that makes sense coming into this game. However, he more than doubled that number on Sunday after he caught 9 of his 10 targets for 173 yards and a score. He finished as the wide receiver 3 going into Monday Night Football. And with Dak's improved confidence, the Cowboys' improved efficiency on offense, Brandon Cooks is definitely going to get some attention. Another player I've been talking about quite a bit lately, Trey McBride, tight end from the Arizona Cardinals. If he was dropped in your league after a disappointing performance in week 9, now is the time to get him. You saw what he was doing before Kyler came back, and Kyler Murray came back and was playing really efficiently and really well on Sunday. I like Trey McBride. I definitely think he can finish as a top 12 tight end any given week. He was the tight end 2 for the week this week. Caught 8 of his 9 targets for 131 yards and had a 28% target share in this offense. So Trey McBride, if you need help at tight end, is definitely going to help you out huge. Another couple of people I'm looking at, Ty Chandler from the Minnesota Vikings. You were looking at him with Cam Akers getting injured, getting a little bit more attention. And you're seeing that they need to split carries. We've been seeing that with Alexander Madison and Cam Akers for the last few weeks. So I expect him to get a little more attention, as well as TJ Spears. We've been talking about him for a few weeks. I see him as a high upside handcuff with an established role. If Derrick Henry is to go down, TJ Spears would immediately slide in to be one of the most valuable players off the waiver wire for the season. Romeo Doubs, he's been a roller coaster this season, up and down as far as waiver wire players are concerned. But I like Romeo Doubs from the Green Bay Packers. He's looking as a dependable target, a dependable wide receiver, and a high target share in this offense. So Romeo Doubs, and he's got a great touchdown potential, as well as Luke Musgrave on this offense. That is another waiver wire add if you need tight end help as well. He had a career high 64 yards on Sunday, catching 2 of his 4 targets. He had 2 big games in a row after scoring a touchdown last week in week 9 and catching 3 of his 4 targets. So you're looking at Luke Musgrave getting more involved in this offense. Similarly to the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers are getting more movement, more efficiency in their offense, and things are looking good for a lot of the pass catchers. I've been tooting the Michael Mayer horn for a couple weeks. Still a great option for you if you need a stash player. Sam Howell, if he's still out there, 6th best quarterback in the league right now, I'd consider adding him. Some other players to consider adding: Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, Zach Charbonnet, Lombardi, Leonard Fournette as the running back position goes. Wide receivers, Robert Woods, Michael Wilson, Quentin Johnson, and Rashid Shaheed. And then tight ends, my boy Cotton Cade. That's going to do it for the waiver wire episode this week. We got a lot of content coming out for you guys this week. I know playoff pushes in the middle of it, and we got trade deadlines coming up for almost everybody. So now is the time for the most important research of the year, and I got you covered. So that's going to do it today. Make sure you keep your chins up and your attitudes down. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Bye.